Hi, this is Joan, and I wanted to show you some of the requirements that people providing assistance, childcare assistance in Illinois. I'm not sure if it's all Illinois, it's definitely Chicago. Have to complete by June 29th. Now this says September 30th, but other literature says June 29th, so I would go by their date. Okay, they must complete the following modules of the Illinois ECE Credential Level Tier 1. These four. Then CPR, First Aid Certification, Child Abuse. To continue receiving CCAP payments, the following modules must also be completed. This is Tier 1. Well, you've already seen Tier 1. This is Tier 2, then Tier 3. And yeah, it's a lot, and it's all got to be completed. Like I said, as far as I know, it's June 29th, and I would go by that earlier date just in case. Now, this is what you have to complete, regardless of whether you're a home uh, daycare provider or if you have a daycare. And it doesn't matter how many or how few children you have, if they're related to you or not, they still have to be completed. Now, to me, that looked a little like, whoa, that's a lot. But, to be truthful, it's even more than you think if I can find the details for them. Because each one of these classes takes about 3 hours to complete. Now they say 2 hours, but to me it seems to be about three. And I guess some people will say, well, that's because, it only took me 15 minutes. Well, okay, maybe you're super smart. I'm not going to argue with you with that. But it took me longer than I thought. It took like 3 hours to get through this. And imagine each one of these in English, for English speaking people, is about 3 hours. Now you could take it in person. But if you do, well, that required either going in the evenings or the weekends, and it pretty much took up your whole day if you went on a weekend day. And it's not like it was only one day. You have to go like 4 different weekends. And like I said, this is what has to be completed if you are taking care of your own um, related children, unrelated children, if you have one, or if you have 30. And it all has to be done by June 29th. Now, let me see if I can find where it said June 29th. And this is for ignore the ones if you're English speaking. You only have to take the English speaking ones. Okay, so I don't want to. It comes to, I think it's 15 different courses that have to all be done. And let me see if I can find that date again. Okay, as you can see right here, it says important notice this course must be completed by June 29th, 2017. And every course I've seen has said that. So I would follow that as opposed to the September 30th date. But the point that I'm really making is this is this is a lot of work, and it is, I think, designed to kick as many people out of this program as possible, and possibly soon to just plain end it. And I think that, yeah, they'll start with this. And for those of you who think, yeah, well, so what? What happens to your neighbor really does affect you. If you have a lot of women who can't find anybody to take care of their children, well, you're going to have a lot of women well, they'll first probably try to get assistance again from aid to dependent children, and they'll also go after men more for child support, which will help the court system because they'll throw more of them in jail. And it will probably also help DCFS funding or workers Because I think a lot of people will get desperate and start trying to leave kids alone more often. This is just me, trying to guess what will happen because I do think that one thing leads to another. If you have a lot of mothers who don't have anybody to keep the children because they can't get through this course, this is ridiculous. You have like 15 courses, 3 hours a course, and if you have a problem with immunizations, if you don't want your child immunized, well, these this training states they pretty much have to be, and I think it just opens the provider's door for the state to come in. And I think a lot of providers will say, you know what, especially the smaller ones. Now, if they have a daycare, they might continue on. But if they do, they might also decide, I don't need this. This is just too much paperwork, too much trouble, too much stuff on my staff to have to do, too much for me to have to do, and tell the mothers, you just have to pay me out of pocket. Well, people, it excuse me, that will be an economic burden on the parents. Or a lot of times, I think you have a lot of single parents and single mothers a lot, and they will they'll try to pay up or they will pay up. Either way, it's gonna be a little harder. And I think this is just probably the first program that they're just gonna dismantle. I think eventually, yeah, your food stamps are gonna be gone. Your housing, Section 8. Now, that to me is really frightening because where will people go? You know, all of this is frightening. And I really think that as African Americans, we are the least prepared for anything because other nations they they help each other. We rely a lot on the state. I think people don't like to admit it. Everybody wants to say, well, I'm rich. Some people are doing well, but you depend on other people more than you think you do. If your neighbor falls, if all your neighbors fall, at the very least, your property values are gonna decline. And your neighborhood, the few people who are there, are gonna be more desperate, which means you're probably gonna see more violence. I This to me it was foretold in the Bible. They told you this was coming. This whole ideal I have about we're being surrounded. Well, I do feel that this is it. I think what happens is with narcissists in general, what they do is get you dependent on something and then they take it from you because they know that you'll get desperate and you'll do whatever they say to get it. And I think that's what's happening here. Well, another thing I looked at was, well, what can we do? Well, I think that I thought about Black Wall Street, how they had their own business and stuff. I think that's a really good idea. The problem is they were all in one central location. So if you got upset with them, you could just simply get rid of everybody, all the progress, because it's all in that location. So I thought, okay, well, what might be a solution? And the solution I came up with was this. Okay, come on, computer, cooperate. This is my personal website, and it is successthroughservice2.website. And when I first started making these videos, this is what I planned on focusing on. I just kind of didn't do it. And now I think, yeah, it is really necessary. We have to start relying on each other. And this is one way to do it. This is basically the Motor Club of America. And it is something that everybody who has a car really could use. And what happened is it has partnered with Get Weekly Paychecks, which basically just organizes it and makes it easier for you to sign up. Now, I'm saying do this now Because I really do believe eventually, yeah, they are going to have that EMP strikes and you won't even be able to do things over the computer. So while you can, this is a way that we can have a community without actually being nearby each other. That makes it harder for anybody to come and just say, I'm wiping all of y'all out because you're not all in one place. And while I am talking primarily to Black people, because I think that we are the least prepared, I'm saying anybody, if you want to help your family, you want to help your community, I really see this as a way to do it. I looked up, I did my background checks, my due diligence. People are making a great deal of money from Motor Club of America. Now, it's like any other business, and it is your business. We have gotten used to being hand fed, but this is your own personal business. So you will get out of it what you're willing to put in it. But what I'm also looking at is, like I said, I think we're being surrounded. I think your kids are getting beat up at school, talked about at school. They're being scarred. And some of this is not coming from the students. It's coming from the teachers. The teachers are. I mean, you started screaming a few years ago for we need better qualified teachers. Well, now you've got your kids being molested a lot more often in school. Molested, beat up, sent home because their hair isn't silky and straight. I mean, a lot of things are happening. So you might want to look at homeschooling. Well, if you're going to homeschool, you're going to need an income. And if you're a single parent, you definitely need some assistance because a lot of the things that are holding you up, they're coming and dismantling them. And it's all, to me, it looks like a diabolical plan. You had a mother and a father. Well, if we turn the mother and father against each other, hey, that makes the kids ours. We can take them and do with them as we like. And if the whole world just worships money, not, well, especially in Black America, we love to flash money and we have the least amount of it. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is none of this is by accident. It has all been predicted. And to me, this looks like a way to hold out until the end. Because I think eventually, yeah, they're coming for you in every direction. But so far, you can do this until the EMP strike and they get rid of the computers. Hold each other's hands is what I'm saying. If I can help you, I'm happy to do it because I feel like, okay, if you're a single parent and I help you start a business, then you can teach your children so they don't have to go out there and beg somebody else for a living. If your children don't have to beg anybody for a living or don't have to depend on somebody else, that's all. They're a whole lot less likely to resort to crime, you know? And also, as far as workplace bullying, well, if you are your workplace, if you can say, well, I don't have to put up with anybody talking any kind of craziness to me or telling me to go attack that person or I have to do this, that, or the other thing because I make my own money. That to me, that's freedom, you know? And it's getting to be a very limited thing, a very valuable thing. Being able, a lot of people split up because of money, because they feel like they don't have enough money or whatever. Well, I think that some of the friction there could be solved by having your own business. Now, like I said, this is Motor Club of America. It's been around for over 70 years. It has been quietly successful all these years because basically it provides all the services of every other motor club, plus gives you a whole lot pluses. Plus, you make money off of who you refer. So anybody watching this, if you sign up, that's $80 for me. Okay? So it goes on and on and on. And when you sign up, you can do the same thing. We can help each other. We can have some businesses that are not physical, are not in physical buildings because that's a lot harder to start because it's a lot more expensive. This is this is something to do. So please look into this and I will provide the link. And I'm not being totally selfish here. I really do think it will help. So please take a look and let me know what you think.